Good evening, ladies and gents. What is up? What is up? You pin myself. What is up, guys? Hopefully we are well. Say what's up down below. We have a lot to go through today, guys. I'm excited. What is up? We got Bobby in the house. Good to see you, Bob. We got Fletcher as well. Good to see you, sir. What's up, Ron? We got Chris in the house. Chris, good to see you also, brother. We got Jared. Congratulations on your movement. Love to see it. Passing your first $1,000. Very good. Good to see you, bro. That thing is moving hot. Me and Ron are going to help you scale that. Jonathan as well. Congratulations on your movement, brother. Love to see it. Marina as well. Love to see your movement. Also good to see you. Melania, what is going on? Mohammed, good to see you, sir. Always a pleasure to have you. Love your comments and everything, brother. Appreciate you. Mohammed Ibrahim, good to see you, sir. Robin, good to see you as well, my brother. As always, good to see you, Robin. Happy Father's Day as well to all our BSF dads here. It's actually Father's Day here in the US, which is super cool. Salma, good to see you. What is going on, Salma? Love to see it. We got Sandeep in the house as well. Steve, good to see you, sir. Teresa, love to see it. Good to see you as well. You've been busting ass. I've been seeing it. Tina as well. Good to see you as always, Tina. Always. I don't think I've ever seen you miss a session, Tina, which is amazing. And my man, Zach, good to see you, brother. Hopefully you are well. Good to see you today. Guys, I'm excited. We're going to roll through. Happy Father's Day to all the BSF dads out there. Absolutely love it. Hopefully you guys... I didn't want to reschedule the session right on this week. I wanted to have it on our normal Sunday, right? So if you are a BSF dad who is with your child, right, and you're watching the replay, do yourself a favor, shoot us a private message over on WhatsApp, and we'll get you some private support as well, because I don't want you to have to miss a session, and we'll give you some extra movement in case you need as well, which would be amazing. So if you're a BSF dad watching on the replay, shoot us a message to me and Ron on WhatsApp, and we'll go ahead and help you privately behind the scenes if you couldn't attend today. And we'll go ahead and get the party started here as well. But again, happy Father's Day, guys. Seriously, you guys, I see you dads coming to these masterminds, and you're busting ass consistently building for yourself and for your family. I think it's really, really cool, right? So great stuff all around. I love to see that constantly. And I spoke with my dad this morning as well. Very good conversation it was. But guys, I'm excited to get rocking and rolling today. I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen here. We'll go ahead and get the ball rolling. We're having a full-on long-form Q&A today. We're going to get moving here. And guys, it is Q2 and the movement is pretty sick right now. Like it's been the last few weeks, right? Just realize every time that happens in Q2, it's usually a really, really good Q4, right? So we're seeing that again, like I mentioned earlier in the season. And I do believe we're going to see that consistently as we move forward again as well. So we can start by raising our hands here. I do want to go through a few things before we actually get into our long form Q&A today, guys. On the bottom hand portion, you see a raise hand button. You can click that up and you'll be able to go ahead and see it. I want to mention one thing as well. I did launch a new company called Digital Founder. It is a sister company to BSF, which is super cool. It's basically what we do here at BSF for service-based businesses and installs, which is really cool. And with that being said, if any of you guys have a service-based business or anyone who has a service-based business, for my students here only, I'm going to, if anyone you guys send my way, I'm giving you 40% of the profit that we make off of the projects, off the individual that you bring in. We're doing direct installs. It's actually pretty sick. I'll go through it at a later time, but if anyone has, any service-based business or anything like that, or a buddy who has service-based businesses, I would love to give you guys 40% in net margin on each project, right? It's direct ad installs. We're going into service-based companies and I'm basically installing the same ad infrastructure and the same internal infrastructure that I've done for bunch of people from NFL, UFC fighters, and the Panda Express pronunciation offer that I built, along with all the other companies and offers I worked on. It's pretty cool stuff, and I'm excited for it. Now, I do want to jump into some CBO talk today as well. One thing that Ron and I have been doing consistently, and this has been working really, really well, and I want what's up, Colin? Colin, this is going to be really good for you as well, because you're making consistent sales and scaling as well. Want you guys to hear this piece out. So, with our CBOs, right? As we know, we're adding new creatives to the campaigns consistently, pretty damn consistently. One of the things that we're doing that is making a huge difference in our ROAS, right, is instead of adding all the creatives just as a big bunch, right, you want to segment them based off of type of creative, and then you're going to put them into individualized ad sets, right? So, for example, you have your campaign, and then you can have, let's say, 3 different ad sets within that campaign. You can have, let's say, image ads, video ads, and then you can have specific types of video ads in each different ad set. What that allows you to do, and this is over the last week, it's been crushing for us more so than really anything. You're able to scale individual creatives without adding them to the big conglomerate. So when you're adding every single creative all together, right, the Facebook ad account ultimately is going to struggle a little bit more to kind of like diversify ad spend, right? Which it'll still do well. It still performs very nicely. But one of the things I'm seeing is when I'm separating, right, when I'm separating these actual ads, these creatives into different ad sets based on category, not only is it allowing more ad spend to go into the winning creatives on a more consistent basis to get me to scale further, but it's also allowing me to kill the ones that suck easier. Because the ones that don't do well, right, they'll sometimes suck out the ad spend, right, from the ones that are doing well. And I'd rather have that spend go toward the higher performing creatives, right? So that's one thing that we're going to be adding into university. Definitely keep an eye out for it. We have a lot of new material as well that Ron's going to be shooting over the next few days here as well. That's going to be added to uni. So be ready for like a whole nother kind of like push into uni with all the new kind of flows, which would be really good for you guys. But primarily over like the last week, this has been really, really hot. And it's increasing our ROAS a ton, because when you turn off an ad set in a CBO campaign, right, that is doing well, right, and you're turning off an ad set that's sucking out the spend, what's happening is you're now letting that spend go into the creatives that are performing better, right? That's allowing you to not really reset the campaign as a whole, right? Because when you turn off an ad set individually, it's only really affecting that ad set. It's not really having much to do with the ad sets that are already running, right? So it gives you kind of more variability and the ability to, not throw things into reset learning when you make changes. So that's one thing that's huge for us. Just does it make sense to add AI ads in a separate 100%, 100 exact, and you saw great movement as well yourself also, right? So yes, 100%, it does make sense to do that. Yes. And one thing as well, you want to separate by angle, right? You want to separate by angle. So for example, there's this one lady in our brand who makes really, she just, for whatever reason, whenever she makes content, it's just banger content and it just always performs, right? She's like a very energetic, bubbly blonde lady, and it does really well. So we have our own ad set specifically for her creatives, right? And whenever you're noticing some signal, or whenever you're noticing, okay, something's going on here that's performing better than everything else, you want to break it out and segment it into its own ad set, right? And all we're speaking about here, guys, is CBO campaign and then ad sets within, right? And then you're going to be able to go ahead and break everything down individually based off of creative angle, or like I'm doing like influencer that's performing well, or image ad or AI like Yasan said, right? So that is performing very, very well, right? Another thing I want to bring up also, okay, is disincentivizing your single unit purchase. And Jared, this is good. Like, I would love to test this out deeper with you, Jared, right? And really anyone who's seeing great movement and scaling. What's up, Crow? Good to see you, bro. Good to see you as well, Marino. Okay, so this is what I want you guys to understand. So when you're starting to see like great momentum and movement, like for the first time of breaking through, you could often notice, like, you'll notice individualized creatives perform, right? And again, this is separate than what I'm mentioning by separating them by ad set. I want you to start going deeper, right, earlier on with AI creatives, right? Because contrary to popular belief, right, obviously AI creatives, they're not real, right? So they're not like supposed to perform as good, right? But in our market, they do really, really well, right? Even if we bring them out for one of our like new product launches. So we have a ton of data for this particular brand, and we're always launching new items within that niche still, right? So we're running our main winner, but I'm constantly trying to find other winners, right, as well within. And sometimes you won't have as much content as you'd like, right? And previously, we obviously would scour for it. Now I would like you to start bringing AI to the forefront earlier, right? Because a lot of the voiceovers and AI content, like, it's really, not that distinguishable, right, from like being AI or not. And like when people are watching on an ad and it's only like a short, minute and a half, 2 minute ad, right? It's really not even about if it's AI. It's really if the message is getting across. So what you want to do, and this is something I highlighted previously as well, go into these forums, right? So let's say you're in a women's market, right? There's so many like makeup forums, skincare forums, where these people are literally talking exactly, like they're speaking exactly what they want. Like they're literally telling you what to tell the AI to say, right? And you literally just take their exact words, right? And you feed it into the AI platforms that we like to use, right? And the difference here is you can roll out creative that is more in line with the messaging quicker, right? Without having to obviously like send a creative, send an influencer a message or go out there and find, content. Because when you're finding content, you still always are finding content in the beginning stages, right? But it's not always in the tongue of how the people are speaking, right? And that's a big deal. So one of the newer products that we have on one of the brand that's scaled up, right, is it's another item that's similar to our winner, but it's not. It's not the same item. It's in the same market, right? It's just the same person can use it, right? So what we're doing is rather than request a bunch of content from influencers to say exactly what we want them to say, we're literally going on these forums, pulling exactly right, literally exactly what they're saying, the words they're typing, and we're feeding it to the AI, right? That does really, really well, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend doing so, right? So that's one piece, right, that I would love to do even further, right? For you early on, if you want to kind of have an edge in your ad account, right? And look, a lot of the time the AI content, it's not always going to perform, right? A lot of the time it won't, right? But when you find one that does, it typically does very well because it's somewhat custom, right? And your song goes, does it make sense to add 10 ads in single ad set at 90 USD? Altogether, 3 ad sets, UGC, AI, scaling with a couple of ads. So here is what my opinion is on that. So what I want you to do, Yusan, is I'd rather you like segment them. And here's the thing, like when you have lower budget, like when you're starting off on a lower budget, but you're selling, the goal is to get the spend higher, but you don't want to start like tripling the budget overnight. 20% incremental increases have been doing very, very well for us consistently. So I would say, yes, you could have that number of creatives in there, Yasan, but I want you to segment them based off of angling, right? And the type of creative that it is, right? Because we're not like, for example, also like in like the digital founder company I launched the ads yesterday. What I'm seeing in there is I have it separated based on like personal ads, right? Personal video ads, and then like generic objection ads, and then authority ads, right? What I'm seeing clear differentiation in what's performing. So obviously my personal ads and the video ads are outperforming, objection ads, right? So I've deciphered that on halfway through day one, right? Unless I segmented them like this, right? And the reason I started doing that is because our brand is doing really well with this, right? So it's cool because you can mirror your strategies that do well into physical product and to service based, right? Which is really cool. Now, one of the things that we also love doing right now, right? And this is huge for our average order value, like I was saying earlier, is disincentivizing the first one unit, right? And I think Ron, we probably increased pricing like 3 or 4 times, right? And we saw just positive ROAS growth, but it took us like maybe 2 months to even touch the pricing because we thought it was like, oh, it's doing so well, we don't want to touch it, right? And then what we ended up doing is we started disincentivizing the single unit and incentivizing the buy two get one. So this is my point here. The buy one option, right? You want to make it look like a bad deal almost, right? Because it's going to make your buy two get one look like a really good deal. My pleasure, son. Okay, and here's the point here. So disincentivize the single unit, and Jared do this. Everyone do this, right? We're all running the bundle options. We should all try this. This is a way, Colin, everyone, right? This is a way that you can instantly just literally get more profit per sale automatically, right? And we've actually seen conversion. We actually saw conversion jump when we did this, right? So we disincentivize the single unit, increase the pricing slightly on it, not to where it's outlandish. It has to make sense, obviously. Right, but you're disincentivizing it because you want someone to look at the buy two, get one and be like, why don't I just get the buy two, get one? Seems like a lot more value compared to buying just one, right? And that's the case. But here's the catch here, okay? So now you've increased the pricing on your single unit, okay? Now what you want to go ahead and try to do is try to bump the pricing of the buy two, get one until you see a drop in conversion, right? And Ron and I literally saw consistent increases in profit, and I stopped it at like 84.95. In reality, Ron, we should probably bump it to 89.95, right? But I don't want to do it yet. We'll do it in a little because look, even me, like alive in the call, like I don't want to do it, but like if I do, there's a good chance the conversion will stay like our conversion is now like 6 to 7%, right? And I really like that, right? We got our conversion. Remember, it was like I was talking like 4 to 5%. Now it's like 6 to 7 consistently, right? So technically, okay, we might see a slight drop in conversion if I up it to 89.95. But what will likely happen is I might make more profit per sale, right? So that's going to be one of the moves that we make soon, Ron, right? Yeah, and the industry average is like 1.5, like 1.8 percent conversion, right? Um, yeah, so that is one thing that we'll likely do. And guess what? If I see increase in profit margin based off of that $4.95% increment scale, and I don't see a massive drop in conversion where it's making me less money, I might try to bump it another 4.95. But I'm confident. I know if I drop it, if I put it above 90, then I'll probably see a substantial drop. So, I got one more increase. We started it off around like much lower. Like we've increased like 3, 4 times, right? So I have room for one more jump to 89.95, right? And then I'm probably gonna halt. I might try going above 90, but I'll let you guys know what I see. But based off what I know, I'm gonna see a drop. Right now, what's even better to do is find the sweet spot of your buy two, get one. Okay, 89.95, and that's our sweet spot. Then what I could do is I could slightly lower the pricing on my buy three, get two. Right now, the goal here is to incentivize people to buy up the ladder. Right now, you don't want to make it too good of a deal to where everyone's choosing the buy three, get two option, and you're making less net margin on that purchase. Right, that's not what you want. You want the higher tier that they buy, the more money that you're going to make, right? So we're disincentivizing the individual item, and then we're incentivizing the buy two, get one, and then the buy three, get two, right? Yeah, so keep that in mind, right? And typically, that's how you're going to get a really high AOV even further. Because if more people start buying the third option, you're going to skyrocket the average order value. Right. The only thing you want to keep in mind is you don't want to like make it vanity metrics. We're like, oh yeah, I'm getting more of my third bundle option sale. Right. But you're making less than you would on the buy two, get one. Right. That's not what you want. Right. So you want to play with the numbers there to make sense. Right. But that's completely crushing the game. Right. And if you mix it with doing what I just said in the CBO campaigns, where you're now separating it by creative, right? You could scale individual creatives and turn off individual creative sets that suck, right? So the ones that do good, they're going to scale. The ones that suck, they're not going to suck out the spend anymore, right? So doing just these two things alone, right, is going to help you make more profit, right? Like straight up, okay? Because you're losing margin to shitty creatives getting spend when there's other creatives that are doing really well that are not getting that spend where it should have, right? And then you're incentivizing people to go ahead and buy more from you by disincentivizing the buy one, and then by playing around with the numbers on the two other bundle options. Okay, guys, give me a 1 down below if that makes sense, and you understand what I'm saying there. But give me a 1 down below, right? If that makes sense. That is very important, right? And guys, this is not something that I used to really do, right? This is a one-way ticket to like literally increasing AOV extremely, extremely hard, right? And let me tell you right now, like that is the game changer here, right? The game changer is literally allowing yourself to do that because guess what? Nobody's really doing that. A lot of people aren't doing that, right? And what's happening is then you're competing with someone who's only selling a one unit, right? And then there's no way that they can compete with you anymore, right? Why can't they compete with you anymore? Because they're trying to sell one unit, and even if they're crushing it, like the guy who's selling the buy to get one of the bundles is going to make more, have more profit per sale, be able to spend more without caring because he's is in great margin, right? And you'll be able to run the other person out of the bid, okay? And that's the difference. Now, Gassan goes, what would you suggest us do to anything else? What would you suggest us to do anything else other than running a Watt CBO at 50 plus sale? Well, here's the thing, Gassan. You don't want to blow up your number, right? There's a million other things you can do. But I'm victim to this. No, I don't want to say victim to this. I sometimes get like hot hands. It's crushing it, and I want to scale it like 2-3x, right? So yeah, there's a lot of other things you could do, Sam, but the best thing you could do, especially at your momentum and where you are, you're doing very well, is keep it slightly scaling by 20%. Like 10 to 20% increment scales, and I never do 10%. I always like 20% minimum, right? It's not going to throw your ad account or that ad set back into relearning. Right now, For example, one thing I've done over the last week, I was doubling my budget. I was going against what my own stuff. And guess what? Fucking when I doubled it, I'm like, oh, I'm terrible ROAS that day. Brought it back to the previous, did phenomenal, and I scale it by 20% consistently every day. Right. And that performance is fucking amazing. Right. So there's a time and a place when you're gonna double or triple, right? But it's really not something I prefer us to do. If you're, if you're not seeing, if you're seeing like a 9 ROAS, like a 10 ROAS, or looking something gross like that, then yeah, you could double the budget. It cuts itself in half. You're still at a 4.5 ROAS, right? But in reality, 20% increments is usually the way to go, right? And really, the best thing for you to do, Yasan, is it's not really messing with like your ad account. It's getting better creatives, right? Your scale is literally based on creatives. It's no longer like as important for you to like tinker with the, it's literally creatives, right? So number one thing I would have you do, Yasan, is not mess with your watt or your CBO. You should be feeding it more creative, right? And Ron and I moved away from doing our 10 and 5 route, like I told you guys like a week or two ago, right? Previously. And now we're bringing it back because our ad account really likes that, right? Our ad account really likes that. So one thing that really stuck with me when me, Ron, and Manny were just having like kind of like a mastermind geek out session. One thing that Manny said, right, really, just resonating is like you're at like our ad accounts literally have all the answers for us, right? And it's true. It's like your truth may not be Ron's truth, may not be Fletcher's truth, right? But generally it is, right? Generally it is, right? But you want to make nuanced tweaks based on what you're seeing in your own ad account, right? And yeah, Yasan, that is exactly what we were doing as well, and that's the correct strategy. What I would do, Ron, is let's throw him on a 10 and 5 strat, and let's just see how his ad account reacts to it. Right? Throw him on 10 and 5, and then see how it reacts. And do it like don't just do it once, have him do it 3 days in a row. And Yasan, Ron will hit you up and he'll walk you through how to do it, but do it for 3 days in a row. And we're gonna see how it reacts to it. And Ron, if we see on that 3-day sample size period, ROAS outperforming like the week before, then we're going to have them stick with it, right? But make sure that we're doing it in obviously like the differential ad set structure that I was mentioning at the beginning of the call, like we're doing now. But you saw we're gonna do that, and we're gonna see how that performs. But no, frankly, like what you're doing is correct. What you're doing is exactly correct. Remember what I said. Your Facebook is like a furnace now, right? You ever watch like the Polar Express, that movie? Right, the Polar Express is like, it's like one of those steam engine trains, I think, right? Where you have to always put the coal in. Same thing, right? The amount of coal dictates how long the train goes and how quickly it goes. As long as there's coal in there, it's gonna keep chugging, right? So we're gonna give that. We're gonna, and here's the thing, Yasan, it's like it's not something that you'll always do. It's kind of like a boost, right? And then we might pull back, right? Because the logic here is when you hit winners, like really great winner creatives, but then you're adding a ton of new ones in every day, right? What's going to happen? Can anyone guess what's going to happen? Let's see. So let's say we have some creatives that are doing well, right? But we're constantly adding creatives in on a consistent basis every single solitary day, almost to the point like where it's too much. What may happen? What may happen is the creatives that's doing well might now get less spend because Facebook wants exactly, Bobby, exactly. Exactly, Jonathan. Yes, guys. Yes. Okay. So yes. Right now, that's why it's nuanced. That's why like it's not like a straight answer, right? It's different for Jonathan, it's different for Bobby, it's different, like, and you all are selling really well, right? It's all like that's the difference maker. It's different based on where you are, right? But generally, it's the same. But that's why we always give each other nuanced kind of walkthroughs. So my people who are confused about that. Let's say let's say me and Ron launch 50 creatives. And frankly, when we launch 50 creatives, we probably find like one, maybe two bangers, maybe, right? So keep that in mind. You have to be launching a lot to find new winners constantly, right? But when you have your winners, right, what I might do is you might see us slow down the creative upload the next week, month, however long that creative is cooking for, right? Because I want that spend to go into the actual winning creatives on a consistent basis, right? What's going to happen there is I pull back the creative upload and I let the winners do their thing,
right? And I get more scale and I make more profit and I make more money, right? So when we launched that 400K month brand, right, the first few winners we found, absolute bangers, and they lasted like they're actually still selling, right? So they're still selling. They're just not selling as good because now we have new winners, right, in there as well. And it's the blonde lady, right, which is cool. So mind you, the creatives that got me, that got Ron and I, like 300, 400, right? They're not the same creatives that are getting most to spend right now, right? Because we're constantly uploading new ones, finding more winners to take the place. Even though our initial winners are still selling, still have a great ROAS, they just don't get as much spend in it, right? Why? Because Facebook prefers to give it to the newer stuff that may perform better.